Welcome, YouTube world, to my new YouTube channel. I'm really excited to start this channel, Dr. Dave, the Running Psychologist, training body, mind, and soul. I am Dr. David Beeksma. I'm a licensed psychologist in the state of Wisconsin. I'm also a master's level distance runner. I've seen if you've been on YouTube and looking around, you can see there's a lot of YouTube channels about running. Most of them by younger people, professional runners and such. And I thought, what might be interesting to do a channel for older folks who work full-time and try to squeeze their training in. So I'm hopeful that that will be helpful. Also, I'd like to share things that I've learned from psychology. There are some really fascinating things that we're learning related to neuroplasticity and how that relates to training as a runner, but also how it relates to living life in general. So I want to use this channel to share with you and answer even some simple questions like when I was giving a talk recently about issues with dealing with trauma and stress, neuroplasticity, epigenetics, these types of things that psychologists can talk about, I had a wonderful question. The question was, how do I use neuroplasticity to not eat that cookie? Very practical, common sense question and helpful. So I thought, good gravy, that would be a really good thing to put on a YouTube channel. So that is going to be one of the topics of this YouTube channel. Something as simple and basic as that. And I hope as we go through this journey together, you can send in questions. Send them into the comment section below. A real specific question. How do I use neuroplasticity to do this? Or whether it relates to training and running or relates to not eating that cookie. The original plan for doing this YouTube channel was to develop it and then launch it in May. But the current public health emergency with the COVID-19 virus has kind of upped that, because I think it's fair to say that most people, myself included, have had a little bit of an intick in their experience of stress. And so this channel is going to offer some tools, some training exercises, if you will, how to train the brain to help deal with that stress response. And I want to say the stress response that we have in this state of the world is normal. You know, that's what the brain's doing to protect us. And where will be my next video is going to talk about stress specifically as it relates to training and as it relates to mental health issues. So I'm excited to share some of those ideas that I've learned that have been incredibly helpful to me. And in the work that I do as a psychologist, I found it to be helpful to people when they understand what actually is happening in the brain and what the brain is doing, and introducing some exercises to help train parts of the brain. The brain it's like a muscle. You can train it. And it's not one thing, it's many different parts. So you can train a certain part of it. Just like when we run, we make sure our hamstrings have balanced strength and so that we don't develop injuries and stuff with overuse of when we're running lopsided, so to speak. So that's going to be some fun things, at least for me, to share, and I hope that you find them helpful. But the original plan was to take some time to develop this, but I want to get this out there soon because I'm hoping some of the information could be helpful for people dealing with this whole health emergency crisis that's going on. And with that being said, I need to be very clear to have a disclaimer to say that this is not mental health therapy. These are not psychological services. I am not engaging in that. I am sharing what I've learned about how the body works and how the brain works. Basically, when I say body, the brain's included, because it's not separate. It's all connected. And when we learn how it works, we have a better chance to cope and adapt and develop things, trainings, whatnot, to help us deal with things that are going on in our lives and help us to maybe increase our performance on the race course. So that is my hope for this channel. And if you can tune in, if this is helpful, again, as people who do YouTube channels say, subscribe. Let me know that this is of interest. Let me know that this is worthwhile. And I will be glad to keep putting out channels. As we go, My hope and my intention is not only to talk about how we can train the brain, but also how we train the body for running. And I get some shots of the beautiful place that I get to live in and run in, and talk about my journey of training towards the Twin Cities Marathon. I have qualified as a Masters Elite. I guess the technical way to say it is I've met the Masters Elite level qualifications for the Twin Cities Marathon. So I will be applying to the Twin Cities Marathon to enter as a Masters Elite, and with the goal, with my age group, obviously I want to compete, and so I've got high goals to see how high up I can finish in my age group. And that age group at the time is going to be 55 and up. So we're going to talk about what it's like to run when you're older, which is very different from when you were 40. I will say a really good runner in Ashland here, Ashland, the town that I live, Ashland, Wisconsin, is a little bit older than me, and I remember him saying that as soon as he turned 55, his body just dramatically changed in how he was able to run and his performance. And it's just a really interesting phenomenon to get older and you keep training, you're doing the same training, and the body just responds a little differently. So we'll talk about that, and I would love to get your comments to that, replies to that, so we can share that together as we go through this process of figuring out how to run and train, full-time worker, and train our body, our mind, and along the way, our souls. So thank you for tuning in. I look forward to hearing more from you and doing more of these videos.